Hello, hi, it's Z the Raccoon, and we're gonna do some Q&A for ya. Yeah, your questions, my answers. Let's go. I've got like 40 questions to get through. Let's do it. First question. Did you ever have any negative opinions on furries before and while entering the fandom, and what were they? Of course I did. I'm a regular person, furries are weird. I was a cosplayer for many, many, many years. The saying was, at least I'm not a furry. And then in 2020, I was like, well, dang, I can't even say that anymore. That it was just weird, and the culture was all about sex, having sex in mascot costumes. I thought that was literally the entire fandom, and it's not. A lot of people do that, and that's cool for them, but it's not what I'm in the fandom for. Any negative opinions on furries? Furries themselves? I don't think so. Not since being a teenager, like again, going to a lot of conventions, you see people who are furries and they're your friends and they're just like, yeah, it's basically an extension of cosplay. This is my character, who I am dressed up as right now. I'm performing her for you. There's crappy people everywhere in every fandom. There's the good and the bad, right? Next question by Solar Flare. Are you prepared for the furry uprising and world domination? I honestly think furry culture is gonna be huge. In the next 2 to 3 years, it's just going to explode. And you've got a lot of different reasons for this. Number one, I think on TikTok, people are liking what they're seeing. Number two, just like look at all of you watching this right now. There's a lot of you. Number three, it's just so cute and colorful. And cosplayers are burnt out from cosplaying. There's a lot of skills that transfer over to the furry fandom. They already know how to sew. For me personally, that's a big reason why I jumped into the furry fandom, is people just doing stuff randomly. I don't know. If you were there, you understand. You get it. As for preparations, I need to get a crown made. I feel like Queen Z is appropriate. Goobert asks, what's your favorite furry awakening movie? Hard mode, you can't answer Zootopia or The Bad Guys. My favorite furry awakening movie has got to be The Boy and the Beast. It's really good, and I really like Kumatetsu a whole lot. That contributed definitely to this, this whole thing. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. That, yes. Luna on Pause is asking, have you ever made a fursuit? If so, how long did it take? Personally, I have not made a fursuit. I have made parts. I have edited parts of my own to fit me better, or something broke and I had to fix it. I'm in the process of making a partial for my boyfriend. I made these. These took like 6 hours just for one paw. It's very time consuming and I'm not great at sewing. It looks okay. But like, would I make these things for other people? No. Pedro asked, does my family or parents know that you're a fursuiter? How did they react when they found out? My parents are extremely supportive. They made and wore cosplay with me at Anime North when I was a teenager. When they found out that I was doing this thing, my mom, direct quote from my mom, she was like, I wish I could run around as a raccoon all day. That looks like fun. This is a really interesting question by King Onyx. Do you see Z as more of an extension of yourself, essentially, if you were an anthropomorphic trash panda, or just a character of your own creation that you act as, meaning they have a different personality, way of thinking, acting, than you yourself would? That's a really good question. Her personality is not that different. She likes doing this a lot more. I feel like she's a character that I play. I do this, and instantly you're like, oh yeah, that's a mask that's on her. But when I get into it and I do all the poses and stuff, that's a character. She is not my true self. You hear a lot of furries being like, this character is really what I want to be in life. I don't feel like that is Z for me. Z's fun. She's fun to play. She's a character that I play. Like, look at her. Look at her. I would never roar at someone, but at furry conventions, I do it all the time. I just go, rawr. Fun to play in that space. What is your least favorite part about being a furry? And then you've got the little, ooh, expression there. My least favorite part about being a furry is how sweaty you get in there. It is very sweaty. That's my least favorite part. Being a cosplayer and a furry, out of all cons you went to, what was the one you had the most memories made? And what were some of your favorites? There's always something weird happen at Colossal Con because, it's a water park. There's lots of weird programming at Colossal Con. There's robot battles. There's always something going on there. Also, Dragon Con is really fun too. Again, the programming is just off the wall. So much choice for what you're doing day by day. I would go with either one of those. One that I had the most memories made, probably the first ever Colossal Con that I went to, because I was just like, wow, conventions can be vacations. Cindy asks, which would be your topmost activities that you'd plan on your list at any furry con? Any recommendations and tips? Ooh, I love seeing the dance competitions live. I feel like those are really fun to watch because you see people performing in front of you. Any performance-based programming, I really try to see. So like the masquerade or comedy shows, if they're performing music live with fursuits on, oh my goodness, like that kind of stuff. I just like, oh my god, you could be in Vegas performing this, but you're here at this little furry convention and I'm watching it live. This is awesome. Just look at the schedule before you go and see what interests you. What is your biggest pet peeve about this fandom? The conversation about how fursuits are too expensive comes up every couple months, and it's just like, these are one of a kind works of art. They're gonna be expensive. And if a fursuit maker is charging the price that the fursuit maker charges and people are paying for it, that's called the free market, baby. Until you've made one piece of a fursuit, you really don't understand why they cost that much. How does it feel to be very well known in the furry community? With all the growth you got within the short amount of time, can it be too much sometimes? It feels nice that people know who I am. Whenever I go to a convention, people are always like, hey Z, like your stuff, like your shorts, like your TikTok. I'm always like, thank you, because I really do appreciate it. What tips do you have for furries that are new to the fandom and community? Make a list. Make a list of whatever you want to do. If you want a fursona, write it down and say, make fursona. That should be the top of your list. Go to a furry convention. Meet someone who has similar interests in me. Do an art trade with someone. Just make a list of all the things you want to do and start checking them off. Are people who didn't know you were a furry before wait, what? Are people who didn't know you were a furry before still treat you nicely after finding out? Mildly uncomfortable is the most that I've gotten. Nobody that I was expressly friends with before has said anything negative to me regarding being a furry in general. It's all been in secret. In your opinion, what are some of the coolest rare personas you know? I would say the fish. The fish is the best. What is the weirdest question you've been asked while suiting? Not me personally, but my friend got asked when we were suiting together if they did parties, like private parties, and I was just like, what? I'm not for hire. No. Where did you get your fur from Z from? I didn't make my fursuit. That was my maker, Scarlet Wings, but I believe she got her fur from fursuitsupplies.com and Big Z Fabrics. It's usually those two, or Howl Fabrics. Has someone ever told you that you're their idol? If so, how did you or would you feel? I don't like the word idol personally, because I feel like that means you can't do any wrong, and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm Jesus Christ now. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm just a fluffy purple raccoon person. Now I can never make a mistake ever again. Thank you for putting all of that pressure on me. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty uncomfortable with it. Have I ever forgotten to bring a part of my fursuit to a convention? If so, which part of the fursuit was it? No, because when I was 15 years old, we forgot all the costumes for the anime convention that we were going to, and my mom drove back 2 hours to get them, and I haven't heard the end of it since. And I don't forget anything, because trauma! How often have you redesigned your persona? Instead of having a gradient, she's just bright. She's just, it's just different colors. It's fine. It's fine. I can show what it used to look like before and now after, and it's even changed a bit since then. Actually, two times, yeah. So what is the hardest thing to do when making a persona? It depends on what you want to make your persona for. I wanted to stand out, so I made it bright purple. Making the colors work and making them work in fur that you see in real life, because sometimes it really doesn't translate. It's kind of hard. Luckily, Z looks pretty nice in person. She looks great. Fish sticks, asking the hard-hitting questions. Okay. How did you find out about the furry fandom? Was it the internet, a real-life encounter, or something else? So, in the olden days, when I was like a teenager on DeviantArt, I believe, sparkle dogs were like a really big thing, if you remember that. Probably when I was like 15 years old. I had made a character called Concho Cougar to use on my friends' cards when I was a kid. I didn't know that was a furry, But he definitely was a furry. He was an anthropomorphic cougar that I just put on cards that said, "Happy birthday, Jamie." Was a liker of anthro, not furry. And then when anthro and furry kind of merged together when I was like later teenager, I just didn't want any part of it. It was probably all the bad press that furry got after that. Yeah, so 15 years later, hi. Do you make fursuits or fursuit parts? Have you considered making your own? Yes, I'm trying to make my own. No, it's not going very fast because making videos is a time sink. Has anyone thought about adding a ventilation system that would circulate ice water through your entire fursuit so you wouldn't have to deal with the problem to take it off? Good question. Hold on, I'm wearing one right now. This is an easy cool down vest. It's got ice packs in it and it's keeping me cool. Almost 30 degrees in here and I am sweating. What are your thoughts on quad suits? I think they look really cool. I would just never own one and never wear one because my back already hurts. Is Z your only fursona? Do you have others like a secondary sona or a true sona? I have a fursona who's an opossum. Her name is Scram. I would use the word demure. Z is more energetic and Scram is more, you know, just down here. Z's up here, Scram down here. Both sides of my personality, but definitely more older. What is my opinion on children in the fandom? I feel like children belong in fandom, but also children don't belong in spaces that aren't made for them. Because 99% of the death threats that I get on a daily basis are probably from children. So maybe watch your kids, parents. If I could change something in Z's design, what would it be? I would make Z more of a kimono style suit. I feel like it would be really, 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 really cute. But yeah, I like how she looks right now, but also I really want a kimono style suit of Z. What was Z's first design concept? It was a lot more simple, less colors, but she also had more 80s clothes on. If your fursona is too basic, what do you suggest? I suggest not being a dog. Don't be a dog. I guess dog, husky, wolf, fox. Those are all basic. Change the animal. You shouldn't really care if it's too basic. If you want to be a blue dog, go for it. You know, just own it. Own your blue dogness. Only you can be that blue dog. I want to be purple. Does purple matter to you? Different things matter to different people. This is a hard question. Top 5 fursuit crushes. Gotta go with Starberry Dream, Sour Plum Wine. Who we got? Mojo Yodi. I'll have to get back to you on that. That's my top 3. This is a long question, but essentially it boils down to, how do you feel about people cosplaying your fursuit? How would they do it? I don't even know. Would it be like a fursuit that was Z the raccoon, and they're just like, I'm cosplaying her, but like it's a full-ass fursuit? That's kind of weird. Do you think holding more furry conventions in liminal spaces is a good suggestion? Yes. Furries are memers. Give them a meme! Did you have a denial backstory of hating furries and thinking they were bad and then coming one? I just wasn't interested. There's a saying among cosplayers is like, oh yeah, I don't really care about furries, but you gotta admire the craftsmanship. And then everybody nods and says, oh yes, the craftsmanship, the craftsmanship. And then you become a furry, you're like, well, well. Is it difficult to breathe in a suit? So anytime that my mouth, can you see my mouth? Anytime that my mouth shifts, and now it's my nose, hello, it is difficult to breathe when my mouth moves. But as long as my mouth stays here, it's fine. If I'm at a dance and it's going like this, it's really hard to breathe, yeah. And I try to readjust my face. What was my first furry crush, if I had one? Probably Digimon. I'm gonna say Leomon. Ooh, he's just hot. If a nice person walked up to me and asked them if they could hug me, what would I do? I would say, gently, please. Please don't break me. The first ever hug that I received from a stranger, he did one of these and he tried to like break my back a little bit and I was just like, oh, God, no. So I will say yes, but gently. What is my worst con nightmare, furry or other? It's forgetting anything. The whole reason you go to the convention is to wear the costume. Well, that's the reason I go to the convention, so I can wear my costume. Or you go to the convention and they don't have a hotel room for you, and I'm so sorry, like, the confirmation is canceled and you have to find a new hotel room. It's just like, oh my God. Why did you not name yourself ZK art, even though you're Canadian. My nickname was given to me by friends of mine. They weren't Canadian, and I'm Canadian, so that's why. My favorite furry content creator besides myself is Starberry. She's adorable. I watch everything that she puts out. She's so cute. Go give Starberry a follow, please. How do you deal with anti-furries? They won't leave me alone. Wah! Block, delete, block, delete, block, delete. That's all I do. And nobody's ever gonna read your comments when they're deleted. See ya. John, that's a bit personal. No thanks, John. How much do conventions cost? It depends. It depends if you're flying out to them. Yeah, I usually spend about, I would say, $200 to $1,000 on a convention is probably the average. If I'm going to a convention in the States, that number pretty much doubles. Canadian dollars in the toilet right now. So it's a lot. It's very expensive. Do you think being a furry is worth it? Hell yeah. How do furries go about dating? I really don't like dating in the fandom communities that I'm a part of because that's my fun time. You know, like that's where I'm going to have a blast on the weekend. I don't want to be reminded of all of the people that I dated when I go to this convention for the weekend. It's really nice that some people find love and happiness and everything with people that also share their conventions, I guess. But I prefer it that there's someone who just like tolerates my hobbies. Because if I have to see that person time and time again every con, I'm probably not going back to that con. What inspired you to choose a raccoon? I live in Toronto, and we are the raccoon capital of the world. Did you know that? When did you decide to be a furry? I decided to be a furry when my friend was posting a lot of TikToks of himself in his fursuit, and I said, oh no, that looks like fun. We gotta fix the tongue. That's all crap garbage. Don't use that. Okay. I can't remember. Number 3. What was my other point? I can't remember. Those are the questions. Oh my God, there was like 50 of them. Thank you. Thank you for writing them. I had a lot of fun answering them. Thanks for watching.